Hello everyone, welcome to MzansiOz Diary. My name is Connie. Yes, I just wanted to put this video for you guys about the White Afrikaner. I may have played this video a while ago when the story broke out of South Africa. But 49 White Afrikaner refugees have arrived in America, aka Amerikaner. That is the name that South Africans have given them, Amerikaner. I kind of prefer Amerikaner in South Africa, who do not align with these people, who don't believe in their rhetoric of being persecuted. So the White Afrikaner South Africans, there's a lot of them that you would hear their voices. So I kind of prefer the Amerikaner, kind of like distinguished from the white South Afrikaner community in South Africa who love South Africa. Let's listen to the group of people. So we're going to start with South African and then move to America. So kind of reactions and how the South Africans feel about it, the Afrikaner community in South Africa, who are seeing these people making themselves, kind of like a victim of equality. The victim of equality, not having any privilege anymore. Let's listen.
This is for the Americans. If you're not an American, feel free to watch, but please try and get it to the Americans. My name is Bianca van Wyk, born in South Africa, live in South Africa. Today you will be welcoming the so-called White Afrikaans refugees. They are there based on an offer made to them, which I must say was informed by disinformation about South Africa. Now, I've seen a lot of takes on who Americans think they are receiving. Okay, you are not getting successful, professional, white, middle class South Africans that are fleeing South Africa. The people you are getting are the people that believe that there is discrimination against them based on their race. Keep in mind, we live in the most unequal country in the world. We have, for instance, 70% of agricultural land and agricultural holdings are owned by white South Africans. 62 to 68% of top leadership positions in corporate are filled by white males. There is a huge salary disparity between white South Africans and the rest of the population. And there are a number of other indicators which shows you that this story of discrimination based on race is false. Another thing that I wanted to say is that you will get certain so-called refugees that have experienced crime. However, in South Africa, no one is exempt. These people that you are welcoming assume because they're white, they should not experience crime. The people most affected by crime in South Africa happen to be black people that live in poverty. So as you open your doors and welcome people, and you're going to get a lot of information and disinformation from these people, please do keep that in mind. Oh, I also would like to say all the best and good luck to the Americans.
50 Afrikaners who fled to the US, calling themselves refugees. You are not refugees. You are just a case study of white flight dressed up as martyrdom. You're not escaping violence, you're escaping equality. South Africa didn't chase you away. You ran. Yes, South Africa is one of the most violent countries in the world. Yes, brutality exists. But let's be honest, violence affects all communities, not just white farmers. Black, colored, Indian, and yes, white people are all targets of a national crime crisis. What we have is a breakdown in safety, not a white genocide. This is not ethnic cleansing, it's criminal collapse, and running to the US won't fix it. You are part of a 7% minority, but somehow still manages to control over 70% of the wealth. That is not persecution, that's privilege on a guilt trip. And let's be real, if we tried to relocate just half of the Afrikaans population, it would take decades, billions in logistics, and you'd still end up culturally homeless in a country that don't want your apartheid baggage. You're not brave, you're not victims. You're scared of a world where you don't get to be in charge, and that makes the rest of the Afrikaans community cringe, because you make us look weak. South Africa is broken, and it's our problem to solve. So if you don't have the spine to do so, stay gone.
The self-proclaimed, oppressed, and persecuted white South Africans have fled South Africa, claiming white genocide and white persecution. Utter nonsense. There is no white genocide. There is no white persecution. What there is white accountability. And white people, some white people in South Africa, do not want to be held accountable for what they are, the system that has benefited them for decades, if not centuries. And they do not want to let go of power and control and let Black South Africans have equal right to land that belongs to Black South Africans. So here they are, with Trump rolling out the red carpet to them, saying, welcome in, white people, immediately resettling them, sending them a welcoming committee. I mean, it is fascinating to see, especially since Trump has spent the last few months, the first few months of his presidency, kicking out Black and brown, documented and undocumented people in America, many of whom have done nothing but work hard, pay taxes, and have never been a burden on the American taxpayer. But here Trump is using American taxpayers' money to fly in white South Africans. What's the difference, you say? Yeah, the South Africans are white, because he sure as hell would not offer the same to Black South Africans who have been the subject of genocide, systemic and structural discrimination and racism at the hands of these very white South Afrikaners. But hey, we know how it works, right? This is all about white supremacy. We don't want them in Africa. Yes, let them go. Colonizers, no wanted here. Pack up your bags and go. We don't want them in Africa. Yes, let them go. Colonizers, no wanted here. Pack up your bags and go. We don't want them in Africa.
To all of the South African Afrikaans refugees that are coming to America soon, I just want to let you know, as someone whose wife is Afrikaans, who's been to South Africa multiple times, you're going to have a bad time. There's no white genocide happening in South Africa. You have crime that's happening as a result of racism-fueled generational economic inequality, the same thing that's happening in America. We're just a couple decades ahead of you on the unchecked capitalism timeline. But I have good news for you. You don't have to worry about the cheap exploited labor rising up against you anymore, because now that you're in America, you'll get to be the cheap exploited labor. If you were middle class or upper middle class in South Africa and you come to America, you're poor now. Like, really poor. You're not going to have maids and gardeners and personal servants that you can pay $15 a day for. Now you get to be the cheap labor. But by all means, please come to America and experience the American capitalism that Elon Musk's been raving about to you. You'll probably love it. You know, what do I know? There's probably very little chance that you'll end up going back to South Africa in a year or two after realizing how overpriced and fucked up America is. I wouldn't even worry about that as a possibility. And if you think I'm being mean to these people because I think they're a bunch of racist, bigoted colonizers who wish they could go back to apartheid South Africa, it's just because I do think that. But to them, I say, welcome to the American dream. Please let me know when you've woken up from it.
This video is for the White Afrikaners who are coming to the United States. I think you've already landed here. And I know that some of the folks who met you at the airport told you, welcome, we're so glad you're here. Most of us aren't glad you're here, okay? We don't want you here. We never wanted you here. And furthermore, I noticed they're gonna settle you in Idaho, Ohio, and North Carolina. I will tell you they're not our finest states, so they're a good fit for you. I understand that many of you are farmers, and I've seen a lot of people say, oh, that's great, we need more farmers. Sorry to say we don't. we actually need farm workers because we've deported most of them. So if you can, put your picking hat on and think about, picking produce, that's largely probably what you're going to be doing here, because I hear you don't have a lot of skills. I would also say that you're not going to have to hold just one job, but probably 2 or 3 to make up for your quality of life that you had back in South Africa. There will be no servants working for $2 a day. There's none of that here. So you're the servant who's working for $2 a day. So enjoy that. You're gonna have to pay for your health care, and ordinarily, because you're a refugee who's being discriminated against, you would go on Medicaid. But guess what? The Republicans just cut Medicaid. So I don't think you're going to have that option for healthcare. So maybe you'll do without. I don't know. And honestly, I don't care. I did notice that the Episcopalian Church had a program with the government where they would, they would resettle and help, refugees resettle. They find you all to be so onerous, they terminated the partnership with the government, and they said, yeah, we won't be resettling those folks. Other things that you need to know about. While we are 58% white here in the United States, that's not going to last much longer. Within the next couple of years, we're going to be the minority, which will be fun for you because that's what you're used to. Interestingly enough, we have a ton of Latinos. We're the second largest Spanish-speaking country in the world. So for you, if you could stop speaking that dirty, guttural, whatever it is, German, French, Dutch thing that you speak, that Afrikaans, nobody wants to hear that shit. So you can speak English or you can speak Spanish, which is really the second language here. In terms of other things that you need to know about, the Black people in this country, they don't get fucked with, okay? I know that there's a long legacy of colonialism and all kinds of stuff happening in your country, but our Black folks have sort of been through the fire, if you will, and they're not going to be fucked with. So you're the minority here. Enjoy. I really hope you like your time here. I'm going to bet my ass that you're going to be booking it back to SA probably within the next 12 months. Have a great
Refugee flight carrying 59 White Afrikaners from South Africa landed in Washington, D.C. today. The Afrikaners were the white minority group in South Africa that ruled during apartheid. The group was granted refugee status from the Trump administration, as the Trump administration has accused South Africa's government of racially discriminating against them. The South African government has denied this. This all comes as the administration as a whole has essentially halted all other refugee admissions. The Episcopal Church was ordered by the government to help resettle the Afrikaners, but today the church took a stand, terminated its relationship with the federal government, citing a moral opposition to resettling the White Afrikaners. Joining us now is the presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church, Bishop Sean Rowe. Bishop, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This was a 4-decades-old relationship across many administrations that ended today. Why did the classification of these immigrants as refugees cross a moral line?
Well, the reality is we can't be ourselves in the Episcopal Church and take the step of resettling White Afrikaners from South Africa. Our church has a long commitment to racial justice and reconciliation, and we have historic ties with the Anglican Church of South Africa. Desmond Tutu is a part of, been a partner in this work for us. So we're just not able to take this step. It's not in line with anything that we're about. And it also saddens us to see that other refugees who are being denied entrance to the United States are people, brave people who've worked alongside of our military in Iraq and Afghanistan, now face danger, have been in camps for a long time and aren't being allowed in. And so this is just, the program no longer aligns with where we are as a church and what we're about.
you were human, but you are not quite as human as the others.
We are saying no to evil. No to evil. We say yes to goodness.
Very many good things have happened. I mean, one is we're free. It was quite unbelievable how quickly it happened. I mean, it was, as they sometimes say, like greased lightning. I mean, one day Nelson Mandela is in jail, the next day is out. Then you have negotiations, and hey presto, we have a democracy.
But I and the ANC are as opposed to black domination as we are to white domination.
Imagine if we had chosen the path of retribution and revenge. Our country would have been dust and ashes now. When you nurse a grudge, your blood pressure shoots up and you feel it in your tum-tum. Whereas when you forgive, your blood pressure goes down and you have a physical well-being that reflects your spiritual well-being. So that you can say forgiving is good for your health.